Here in the office, we have Lenovo's newest Chromebook. It is the Chromebook Duet 5. And while it's not exactly like the real follow-up, I don't think at least, to the original Duet that so many people love and actually have at this point, it's an interesting development in their whole detachable Chromebook portfolio. And so we've got it here in the office. I've not seen one in person. I've not laid hands on one. We haven't even started to open this box. So we're going to do that right now. Okay, so before we get in the box, again, take a second to appreciate, because Chromebooks generally come in pretty plain boxing. Lenovo's attention to detail with their boxing, even like the reflective Lenovo stickers going on here. It's just kind of cool. You get this gradient that goes all the way around, and it looks nice. So if somebody were picking this off the shelf at Best Buy or whatever, I don't know, this is a nicer experience than just getting a plain boring box. But we won't hang on that too long. This version here is the one that I believe is available at Best Buy right now. So it's got 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of storage. There's a real oddball version of this at Costco for I can't remember the price on it is, but it's 4 gigs of RAM but 256 gigs of storage. Real strange there. I think this is probably the one you want to go for. Right now it's retailing at $499. So this thing needs to be pretty good to be a $500 Chromebook. It's a detachable. There's some things from what we've read online that I'm not quite sure of with this particular Chromebook. But right on the back, a couple things that are of note here. They've got the OLED from Samsung, which is kind of cool. You've got quad speakers. It's a 2-in-1, obviously, all-day battery, but this is the Snapdragon 7C Gen 2. So that's interesting, too, because while it's not a huge bump in performance, it could be enough, maybe, perhaps, to make it finally feel like a Snapdragon device that doesn't feel like it's compromised a little bit in the performance department. All right, so let's get into this thing and see what's in here. We looked it up. I think 2.2 pounds is what it's what the entire device weighs, like keyboard and all. But I'm telling you, this box is way more than 2 pounds. So I'm not sure what's all in here. Maybe it's just the charging brick's massive or something. I'm not quite sure, but let's just see what Lenovo's got in here for us. All right, so similar to the Duet, kind of nice white packaging. Feels like that's probably keyboard and back. There's our tablet portion, which again, this is a 13.3 inch 16:9 screen. So this is not, to me, the best way to do a tablet, but this is a big tablet. And I can say in this, landscape mode, won't feel too bad. This will feel a bit ridiculous. I mean, it probably looks ridiculous on the camera, I would assume. But yeah, 16:9 is not the best for portrait mode, but for landscape, it should be okay. And that OLED screen is probably going to look awesome. And I'm really hoping the speakers are good, because honestly, if it's a really good screen with really good speakers, then all of a sudden this becomes an awesome just content consumption machine, probably good for games and all that kind of stuff. And so I think it could do some things better than other previous Chromebook tablets have, because ultimately this thing is really thin and really light. Like it already feels really good in the hand. This isn't going to be a fatiguing experience if you pick this up and take all the peripherals off. Continuing to dig down, we've got Lenovo's services. So I'm not sure. We've not had to actually go through this. Maybe we'll break one of our devices and see what their service department does. But just the fact that they have this in there, my hope is that if you call into Lenovo, maybe they'll be a little bit more adept than some of the other companies. You call in sometimes and ask about Chromebooks, and they act like they didn't even know they made Chromebooks. Basic paperwork. Again, just kind of a nice unboxing experience. And I mean, not a huge power brick, so yeah, the box is kind of heavy. So I guess that just added to the overall weight. Oh, nice. It's a 2-piece charger. A lot of times with these devices, we get just a 1-piece. It's all hooked together. This is more like what you would get with your phone. C-to-C cable, so those can come in handy from time to time just to have around. And a C block. Looks like it says 30 on the side, so I'm guessing it's a 30-watt charger. Let's get this stuff out of the way for right now. Before we get into the tablet, let's actually open this bad boy up. here's the other thing. With this being a 13.3 inch 16 by 9 device, you got room for a proper keyboard, and that's welcome. A lot of detachables, even the HP X211 that just came out. Keyboard wasn't terrible. Some reviewers said it was too flimsy, but ultimately because it's a taller aspect ratio, even though it's a little bit bigger than some of the other tablets that have come out, like the original Duet, it actually is narrower in landscape mode, and so that means you still have that kind of cramped keyboard effect. This, on the other hand, is going to be kind of in the range of like the Pixelbook Go. So I mean, it's a standard 13.3 inch laptop, so we should end up getting plenty of space for plenty of room for all your keys and all that kind of stuff. And so just like other Lenovo tablets that we've tested, including the Duet, really nice fabric look here. I like this color. This I don't remember what they have a marketing name for the color on it, but yeah, it's a really cool colorway here. Very dark navy. Let's see. Pretty good with fingerprints too. That's awesome. Slightly flimsy trackpad, but that's interesting. Yeah, it is. It'll click way back here too, so I don't know if that's on purpose or if it's kind of cheap. It's hard to tell. Not terrible, but it's not bouncing around. Relatively smooth. It's not glass. Keyboard feels really nice though, which is kind of what I expect. Lenovo has been making some really nice keyboards, so yeah, on a flat surface this feels really nice. Just like every other, I've pointed this out with the HP, but it's like this with all of them. If you kind of bend this thing a little bit, you'll hear it. You can click that trackpad underneath, but it's, you know, it's a keyboard cover. This is not some hard shelled keyboard. It's a basic keyboard cover. It's going to be best probably when used on a surface like this. For our review, we'll test out the lappability of this device, but yeah, I don't expect it to be wildly better than what we've had before. And then we've got the back, which, you know, this isn't a new trick anymore. You know, a lot of companies do this. It's a magnetic back. This one is nice and thin. Hopefully it magnetizes itself very strongly, because it is. I mean, it's very, very thin. So this is not some like firm back piece. It's just enough that gives you that nice actuation for a kickstand. So once we get this on the actual tablet, we'll see kind of how it fares. And then you see this gap up top. We're not really sure. We're going to have to reach out to Lenovo on this, but the device has a Lenovo USI pen. I think there's a holder that goes here. I don't know where you're supposed to get that from. It's not in the box, and we saw some reports that maybe it wouldn't come in the box. We weren't sure if that was an issue or if that's just how this was made. There is no spot for it. I don't know that it's magnetic back there. Like the pen holder might like slide into this piece and then the pen just sits in there. We'll reach out to Lenovo for some clarification on how that works, and also see if they'll send us one. Because I don't know how it is going to work or how it's supposed to work. If that's just an opening for the magnetic pen, or if it's a case, or you know, do you have to order only that pen? Will that be the only one that will work? Is it a special Lenovo pen? Like those are questions I don't have answers to at this moment right now. But let's instead move on to the star of the show here, the actual tablet. Okay. Right away, I love the color. Just like the Duet, the original Duet, it's kind of got this plasticky matte finish up here, and then this nice aluminum, cool to the touch navy look down here, and I really do like that. Shockingly, usually things of this color are terribly fingerprint heavy, and actually I had some lotion on my hands here just a few minutes ago. Not really leaving much of a fingerprint, a very tiny bit. So kudos to them for figuring that part of this thing out and giving it a finish that, you know, and you can see I've left fingerprints all over the screen here because, again, I just had lotion on my hands, and so it's doing a pretty good job there. But ultimately, getting the plastic off of this thing, we can see around the top we've got a couple volume rocker up here. Looks like a power button over there. I hope that stuff's picking up on camera. This is a really dark device. We got a speaker grill here. I'm having a hard time seeing it. Yep. So speaker grill on both sides there. And then when we flip it around, speaker grill there too. So we have quad speakers that when we were watching the development of this device, that was part of how they were, you know, trying to figure out how to make these work. So when I flip it into this mode, if I'm in portrait, this becomes left, this becomes right. When I flip it here, both of these are left, both of these are right. So it's supposed to do that kind of trick. I don't know we'll probably have to wait till the review process to actually sit and test all that. But we got USB Type-C down at the bottom on both sides. Always beneficial. Again, this is probably going to be more of a media consumption device versus a set it up and work from this thing every single day type of device, mainly because the keyboard is the way it is, and I'm going to show you that here in just a second, but also because it's the Snapdragon 7C. Even the Gen 2 with the boost that it provides, I don't think is going to be something that is going to be an absolute workhorse. But we have dual mics up top, webcam up there, and pogo pins and alignment stuff on the bottom, and that's about it. And you can probably tell from the way I'm handling this, it's not heavy, and it's nice and light, super thin, feels very premium. So as a tablet, this part right here in front of me, this thing feels really great. But because it's brand new out of the box, I got to plug it in for just a second so it'll wake up, and we'll throw all this stuff on there and kind of see what it feels like as a laptop. All right, we got all booted up, signed in, updated, all that kind of stuff. And so I have a couple quick things to say about this device already, just having used it for 5 minutes or so. Keyboard is really good, especially on the table. I did plop it in my lap just to see, and I think because of the width of the keyboard kind of stretching more across your legs, even though it doesn't have kind of the magnetic thing that attaches it to the bottom of the screen, I think it's going to be decently lappable, if that's a word. I think it's a word we're using now with detachable devices. It's lappable. But, the back piece being super thin, the way that I was saying earlier, is kind of nice because when you go to detach this thing and actually fold that up, it doesn't feel like you're carrying around a ton of bulk. So you can see it doesn't really add too much to the width of the entire device. And that's a nice kind of thing to have on a tablet like this because, you're going to pop it off and on, the keyboard and all that kind of stuff. And so, when you're holding it like this, it's nice that doesn't really feel like I've added a ton on the back, because most tablets, I have the tendency, I want to peel that piece off the back too, because you just want to hold the lightest possible thing. I think for extended viewing periods, if you're going to hold this thing and game or something on it, you'll probably want to take it off there. But it's kind of nice, Lenovo's almost created like this crease thing. Hopefully you can see it on the camera around the edges, and hopefully it's going to keep this cloth on the back from fraying like we've seen on a lot of these types of devices. And it feels good. Like the whole thing just kind of feels well put together. It feels nicer when you take the back panel off, but I think the thinness of that panel is really nice. And even though it's thin, the hinge is still nice and sturdy, and it allows you to go like way flat this way. So if you're even using it with the keyboard on and you want to really lean that thing back, it does work really well there. And then the other thing that struck me is just the look of this thing. I mean, look at it kind of from the side here. The thinness of it. I don't know. It's just striking, honestly, to look at. And obviously, the OLED panel that is on here is just fantastic. The colors look really awesome. We'll go to the site here. Oops. Just so you can kind of see a couple different colors here. It's great. And I can, from way over here on the side, I'm looking at it. It looks awesome as well. So the OLED might be what makes this thing something that someone will go after. So for $500 or less, when it goes on sale, you're getting a Chromebook with a really sweet panel, and I'm telling you, it goes way up. So I'm going to crank it up one notch just so you can see where our brightness is for filming right now. We're like at 1/3, and OLEDs kind of go up on brightness like this. So when we cranked it all the way up in here, it was way too much. Like, it would be uncomfortable to work on just in general lighting. So plenty of brightness under the hood there with the panel. There's no backlighting on the keys, but they feel really good. Trackpad is not great, pretty plasticky, pretty cheap feeling. So I would say get something like that the little small Logitech mouse to go with this if you're going to use it as a desktop device all the time. It works, don't get me wrong. It's still an okay trackpad. It's not the best by far. But ultimately, what I also wanted to show you was, yes, the screen looks awesome. So let me play one of our videos actually. Yeah, there we go. I'm just going to play a second of this. Which position? I'll turn that down for right now. But hopefully it's picking up on the camera, just the clarity and the colors and all that kind of stuff. Like, it looks fantastic. It is a great looking panel here. But then when we go over to here, it comes with those quad speakers we were talking about. So let's give those a listen real quick. I found a track that's not crazy busy, but you can maybe hopefully hear here. Decent low-end response, again, for a very tiny tablet, and huge stereo separation because the speakers are firing out this way you really can hear the music moving from left to right. So watching shows or, some action flicks on this would probably be pretty sweet, I would imagine. So, those are the big selling points of this device. How do the speakers sound? How does the screen look? Speakers are really good. They're not like Pixelbook Go or Pixel Slate level. Those speakers are like insane. Like it doesn't even seem like they should be coming out of the device. This one, really good. So they do sound good. I'd like a little more fullness, but stereo separation's good. But overall, I mean, this is a compelling package, and we haven't even talked about the Snapdragon Gen 2 inside here. So far, again, we'll have to run benchmarks and all that kind of stuff and see what kind of numbers we can get out of it. But when you think about this versus the X2, which is the HP's detachable tablet, and we think about the difference in the two. That's a Gen 1 device with a Quad HD screen. This is Gen 2, so you get a little bump in performance, but it's also just a 1080p panel. At 13.3 inches, hold on. Very hard to pick out pixels. From here, I can't at all, but if I get my face in there a little bit, it's a tablet. You're going to have it maybe open your face a little bit. I think 1080p is the right choice for this screen size. That's a lot less pixels to push around. So now we have a bumped up processor, we have plenty of RAM, and you've got way less pixels to push around on the screen. So I would think performance is going to be better. And ultimately, so far, just messing around with what I've done thus far, I've not really noticed any hiccups or slowdowns, and I did with the HP right out of the box. And so that's encouraging as well. Obviously, we got to review this thing. Obviously, we got to spend more time with it. We got to talk about all the ways that it works and doesn't work as a Chromebook, as a tablet, something you can game on, something you can watch movies on, all that kind of stuff. But it's off to an encouraging start, and this is a really interesting Chromebook that I think, especially coming into the holiday season, could be a potential gift for a lot of people, and could just be a great kind of middle of the road Chromebook that's good at kind of doing some entertainment stuff and good at still getting some stuff done when you actually need to get some stuff done. But guys, that's it for this one. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up. Head down there, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to ring the notification icon that's right next to that. That way you'll be alerted when we make future videos just like this one. Until next time, we'll see you.